Hello everyone, it's Brett here, Lionheart84. So we're back to the dilemma of the grapefruit again. Now I've decided, I think the best thing to do, although it doesn't look terrible compared to how this looked 2 months ago when it was a huge bushy plant, it's basically lost nearly all, well pretty much all its old leaves. It's had a few new ones come out. It's still holding on to a couple of fruits, but I am concerned because I'm getting quite a lot of some of the smaller branches. If you can see that or not, I'm getting quite a lot of dieback. This stem here died back and I've cut it off. Some of these are looking very dry on the stems of the top shoots, although it has had some new growth on it which looks quite healthy. So I'm a little bit concerned about the state of the roots. So I think I've decided the best thing to do is to repot it. I mean, it's been in this pot for a year or two anyway, and some of the roots are up to the edges, so I'm not going to put it in a larger pot. What I've decided to do is take it out of the pot, have a look at the roots and tease as much of the old soil off as possible. If I find any solid sort of like muddy mudball type areas of compacted soil, then I will remove those, and if necessary I'll put it in a bucket of warm water to clean loose compost off. Otherwise, if I can just tease the compost off with my fingers, I'll get as much off as possible and repot it in a completely fresh batch of potting composts, because if the plant is healthy and I'm worrying unnecessarily, it'll benefit from repotting anyway, and if it's got some issues with the roots which could cause it to deteriorate quickly, obviously repotting it will also be beneficial because it should save the roots. Now my only concern is obviously it's quite likely those flowers will either get knocked off when I'm repotting it or will drop off, will be aborted by the tree from the shock of repotting. So unfortunately that's a risk I've got to take, but I'd rather lose a couple of grapefruits than lose the actual whole plant. So I'm going to take it out of the pot in a minute and tease as much soil out off as possible and put it in a new, much more open compost that you saw me use for the mango in a previous video, with lots of bark in it and perlite to keep it nice and free draining. So we'll take it out of the pot and have a further look in a minute. Well, we've repotted her in the new lighter, more open compost now. I didn't bother to film it because you've seen me repot enough plants already and I don't need to keep showing the same bits on the video. The roots actually were pretty darn good looking. They were yellow, they looked healthy, didn't seem to be any rotten roots, so it doesn't appear that the plant's stress was caused by overwatering. May well be that I underwatered it during the very hot weather and that's caused dieback, possibly some damage to the roots and stopped them working sufficiently and caused the plant to drop all its leaves. So I'm hoping that I did take a fair bit of the old soil off so that I could get my new compost in, so I'm obviously hoping that I haven't caused the plant a massive amount more stress and we don't lose the rest of the leaves and the flowers and possibly the grapefruits. I've actually got the grapefruit sitting on the decking rail now to take a bit of strain off the branch, so who knows what's going to happen. We'll have to wait and see, but in any case it will reinvigorate it with some fresh compost. One thing I did notice is the bottom 4 inches of the pot had no roots in whatsoever, so it certainly wasn't pot bound, but I'm wondering why the roots hadn't spread lower down in the pot. I mean, obviously citrus do produce a lot of surface feeder roots, but I'd still expect roots to find their way throughout the pot, so there may have been a slight issue with the roots or the compost. Anyway, fingers crossed this is successful. As it's still the third week of, or the last week of August, we should have a month of weather which isn't too bad, so hopefully it'll give it a chance to recover before it comes inside. So thanks everybody who has watched. I'd appreciate if you give the video a thumbs up as usual. Share it with anyone you think might be interested in grapefruit or other citrus. Please remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and if you hit the bell you will be notified of new videos as I bring them out, including updates on this grapefruit and how it does. Catch up with you all soon. Brett out for now.